Hey everyone, welcome back. Today we're doing a deep dive on a thought-provoking YouTube video by Myron Golden, all about making your time more valuable.
Yeah, his stuff is great. Really gets you thinking.
And it's not just about, working less, though obviously we don't love that.
Right.
It's really about working smarter and using money in a strategic way to create more freedom.
What did you think of Golden's approach?
Well, one thing that struck me was how he kind of reframes our whole relationship with work and leisure. Like he pushes us to go beyond that typical work-life balance thing.
Yay.
He actually provides like systems, to design the life you actually want.
I like how he breaks it down into those two categories.
Oh yeah.
Employment time versus enjoyment time.
Yes.
And his example really resonated with me. Working, even if you love what you do, it's still not the same as, say, spending time with your family or going on that camping trip you've been planning.
Totally, and I think a lot of people struggle with that.
That tension between the demands of work and wanting to spend quality time with loved ones, or even, just pursuing your own passions.
It's so true, and that's where his concept of collapsing employment time to expand enjoyment time comes in.
Yeah, the accordion analogy.
Like squeezing one side to make the other side bigger.
Right, exactly.
But how do we actually do that?
Well, it's not necessarily about working less.
Oh.
I mean, we all wish. But it's more about being strategic, focusing on your strengths and delegating tasks that you either don't enjoy or that someone else could do more efficiently.
So what are we talking about here? Give us some examples.
Well, think about your own life.
Okay.
Are you spending hours on bookkeeping or cleaning or scheduling appointments? All of those things can be delegated to free up your time.
That makes sense. But then doesn't hiring someone just become another expense?
That's where Golden challenges us to shift our perspective. He uses the example of if you need to make, say, 100 sales a week to cover the cost of a housekeeper, suddenly those sales aren't just income.
Right.
They represent 10 to 20 hours of reclaimed time.
Oh, I like that. That's a really powerful way to think about it. So it's not just about earning more.
No.
It's about what that money allows you to do with your time.
Exactly. And he even goes as far as saying, never hire cheap, poor labor.
Oh, really?
He really emphasizes being a value shopper when it comes to help.
What does he mean by that? Because sometimes, a lower price is tempting, especially if you're just starting out.
I think his point is that investing in quality help, even if it costs more upfront, often pays off in the long run. If you hire someone who's really good at what they do, they can do it faster and more efficiently.
Makes sense.
Which saves you time and money in the end.
So maybe that cheap option isn't so cheap after all.
Right.
You're kind of paying a premium for your own time and peace of mind.
Exactly. Yeah, it's like investing in a better tool, right?
Yeah, right.
Helps you get the job done quicker and with less effort. Might cost more initially, but the return on your investment, in this case, your time, makes it worth it.
Totally. I see how all this ties together. But does Golden give us any concrete strategies for actually putting these ideas into practice?
He does. He actually gets really specific about how to build a business that generates predictable income so you can work smarter, not harder, as they say.
Now you're talking. Because just trying to randomly make more money doesn't really feel like a solid plan to me.
Yeah, no, he lays out this interesting approach involving what he calls units.
Units.
Yeah, basically the products or services you sell.
Okay.
And he breaks down how to calculate how many of these units you need to sell to reach your financial goals.
So we're not just making money to make money.
No.
We're talking about strategically earning enough to cover the cost of hiring that housekeeper or virtual assistant, which frees up our time.
Exactly. Each sale you make becomes a step toward reclaiming your time and expanding those enjoyment time frames, as he puts it.
Ooh, I love that.
Yeah.
So it's like each sale is a mini investment in your freedom.
Exactly.
But this whole units concept feels a bit abstract. Can we break that down a little more?
Sure. Let's say you're a freelance writer. Your unit could be a 1,000-word blog post.
Okay.
Golden would say, figure out how much to charge per post to not only cover your basic expenses, but also to factor in the cost of delegating those tasks you don't enjoy or that eat up too much of your time.
Let me see if I'm following. So if I know I need to earn, let's say, $5,000 a month to cover all my costs, including hiring a virtual assistant for 10 hours a week, I can then work backward and figure out how many blog posts I need to sell at a certain price to hit that target.
Exactly. And what's really interesting is he actually gives you a mathematical formula. He calls it the business growth equation.
Oh, wait, a math formula. That sounds a little scary.
Haha, it's not as bad as it sounds. It's actually quite simple. So you start by determining your desired annual income. In your example, $5,000 a month, that's $60,000 a year.
Right. $60,000 per year. What's next?
You divide that by the price of your unit. In your case, let's say you charge $500 per blog post.
Okay, so $60,000 divided by $500, that gives us $120. What does that represent?
That's the number of blog posts you need to sell in a year to reach your income goal.
Okay.
But here's the key. You then divide that number by the number of weeks in a year.
Okay, there are 52 weeks in a year, so 120 divided by 52 is like 2.3 blog posts per week.
That actually seems doable.
Exactly, and that's how that big, overwhelming yearly income target becomes a much more manageable weekly goal.
I see how this approach takes away a lot of the guesswork in building a business and really help you focus your efforts, but is it really that simple?
Well, there are always, nuances and complexities to any business.
Sure.
But Golden's framework gives you a clear place to start and helps you shift your mindset from being just income-focused to being more time-focused. Makes sense. So instead of just chasing dollars, you're actually working toward a lifestyle that gives you more freedom and lets you enjoy the things that really matter to you.
Exactly. And that's what makes this approach so compelling. It's not just about the math. It's about aligning your financial goals with your life goals. It's about designing a life where you have more control over your time and your choices.
This has been so interesting. Golden really gets you thinking about, how you're spending your time.
Yeah, like are you actually spending it on things that matter to you?
Exactly. And is it aligning with your values and your goals?
Right. He makes such a good point about being intentional because so often we just kind of go through life on autopilot, right?
Hey, it's true.
But when you actually start to pay attention to how you're using your time, that's when you can actually make choices about how you really want to spend it.
And he reminds us that, time is limited.
Yeah, you can't create more of it.
So we got to spend it wisely. And I think that's what his framework is all about. Understanding that difference between employment time and enjoyment time, and then working strategically to, reduce one and expand the other.
It's like taking control of your life.
It really is.
Yeah.
And he encourages us to savor those moments with loved ones, those experiences that bring us joy. Those are the memories we're going to cherish, not how many hours we clocked in at the office.
Exactly. Golden's message is all about empowerment.
Yeah.
Recognizing that we have the power to actually shape our own reality.
And not just financially, but how we spend our time too.
Yes. And remember, he's not just talking in, feel-good platitudes.
Right.
He gives us practical tools.
He does, like that business growth equation we talked about.
Yeah, that formula, as simple as it is, helps you to approach your business and income goals in a way that puts time first.
Totally. And it helps you identify those key units that'll drive your success and free up more time for you to enjoy your life.
It's been great unpacking all this with you.
Same here. So let's go back to that question we asked at the beginning. If you could get back just 10 hours a week by delegating one single task, what would it be?
What would you do with those 10 hours? Would you travel more, spend more time with family, finally write that book?
Think about how amazing that would feel to have that extra time.
And remember, using money strategically to get more time and joy in your life is a powerful tool.
It really is. So take some time to think about everything we've talked about today and see how you can apply these insights to your own life.
Time is precious.
It is. Invest it wisely.